guys, I am going to check out a video of an appearance that Bill Burr made on Joe Rogan's podcast. I don't know, back in December maybe of 2018. I know he showed up again sometime earlier this year. I listened to that entire podcast. It was really interesting. Um, but the reason that, what I was getting ready to say is, like I said, I have been spreading out my Bill Burr stuff. I have recently put up a Bill Burr video. Which one was it? Maybe it was the SNL monologue, which has been pretty recent for me considering the fact that I've been spacing them out for the most part or trying to. But I decided to check this out because okay, as of the filming of this is Sunday, November 1st. Well, actually, right now it's officially the 2nd, but I'm not in bed yet. So to me, it's still the 1st. Sunday, whatever. And I'm dreading this coming week for reasons that probably most people can understand. This is okay, we're heading into the election, and this is not going to be a fun week. There's also other stuff just in my personal life. My son's got his wisdom teeth are going to be taken out just a couple days after the election. He's going to be put under. He's never been put under before. So, I'm a little bit nervous about all that. I'm also very busy with with work. I've got an editing project I'm working on. In addition to that, I'm trying to move my office. You will notice that the background is fairly bare compared to the way it has been since I started putting videos up on this channel because I'm trying to move my office. So I'm feeling very stressed right now. And it's just so it's very possible that at the most I will only be able to get up one video a day. I know I had been doing two a day. I do have several quite a few trailers, some song translation videos that I've been doing that maybe I can get those edited and put up also in the evenings, but because I'm so pressured right now, it's very possible that the most I'll be able to do is one a day, Monday through Friday, and that's it. This past Halloween, I was really putting a lot on myself by getting all those videos up, and Saturday was just very hectic with trying to get all the ones I wanted to get up and done, um, you know, before the day was over because I was like, what's the point in putting it up on November 1st? I wanted to get it done by October 31st. Anyway, whatever. The point is, I'm really busy. I'm feeling the stress and the stuff going on just this coming week that's getting ready to happen is adding to all that. Um, but that's part of the reason that I decided to check out this. It's the topic of this. This is from Joe Rogan's Clips channel. It's Bill Burr goes off on outrage culture. Now, apparently, he also had another podcast appearance on some other show a couple months before this, where he was also talking about outrage culture. I have not checked that one out. I decided to check this one out first just because I'm familiar with Joe Rogan. I don't know the other people on the other podcasts, so I'm not sure, but I'm familiar with Joe Rogan. I like the way he thinks for the most part. Even if I don't agree with him, I still like the way he tries to process his opinions and explain himself. And just he seems like such a really calm, easygoing guy. Even if you disagree with him, he's not a tailhole or anything. I really appreciate it when people are like that, which kind of ties into the whole title here, outrage culture. He's the opposite of that as far as I'm concerned, and I feel like we need more people like him in this world. Anyway, I'm curious to find out what Bill Burr is going to say um, on this little clip here. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. It's about 16 and a half minutes long. I'll probably be stopping to talk throughout. But so I already know I've got quite a bit ahead of me. So let's just go ahead and press play.
usually women that want to push this and men who are bitches. It's like these men that don't like aggressive. They don't like aggressive men. They don't like manly men. And so they push it as well.
No, because they're aggressive and they're controlling and they want to run shit. And that's because that's the thing where, like, if you really look at their agenda, when they say the future is feminine, that's not inclusive. And they're all about, make this more inclusive.
That's right. It's not inclusive. That right there is very divisive. You remember those shirts that Kathleen Kennedy and her little tribe of feminists that were working with her on the Star Wars stuff disaster that they were involved in, and their shirt said the force is female. Come on, I can't with that. I just can't. All right. Oh no, that adjusted the volume again. All right.
Say the future is feminine. That's not inclusive. And
I mean, sorry, just the label feminism is divisive, you guys. Because it means it says it's for equality, but it's really solely focused on female issues, whatever. And it is specific to that, and that is the priority. Females already have equality in first world countries, you guys. And in most, if not all first world countries, females have it better than males. So this whole thing, I mean, this is why I think I mentioned in another video, why a lot of women, they believe in and support equality under the law. You know, that's not to say that they think men and women are exactly the same, because we have our differences, okay? And that needs to be celebrated. And I don't like that it feels like society is trying to squash it or destroy it, completely erase the line between the sexes. But you can believe in and support equality, but not necessarily call yourself a feminist or even support feminism. That's something that a lot of people don't seem to get. But anyway, okay. He didn't even go 30 seconds and I'm already stopping to talk. Okay, let's proceed.
And they're all about, make this more inclusive. It's like, no, let us in so we can take it over and then we'll push you down. Is the psychology of the kind of person that goes after that, someone that's after like power. I'm not saying the average woman is like that. My wife is a feminist and she's into like inclusive shit. But like people who are spearheading stuff.
Yes.
Like those people are wired the same way. Like, you know, I mean.
A dominator is.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And there's going to be no room for you. It's going to be like, think the way, like a lot of that so-called progressives, extreme left is think the way we think, say what we say, or we will fucking destroy you.
Pull up that tweet that I read.
Cancel culture. Exactly. That's exactly what that is. You know, there's been something that I have thought about quite often over the past few years, just kind of thinking about the extremes of the left and the right. So the extreme right, and this is generalizations. I know you could get really nuanced into all this stuff, but the extreme right, they are all about controlling the physical you, controlling what you do to your body, you know, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever. They're about that. This is all general, like I said. The extreme left is about controlling your thoughts and trying to dictate to you how you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to say. And both of those extremes are not healthy for societies. And I find it quite disturbing. But anyway, yeah, I agree with what he said.
Fucking destroy you.
Pull up that tweet that I retweeted today, the David Pakman retweet. David Pakman is this liberal progressive guy. This woman posts on Twitter she would never vote for a man or a white man or a white person, white or male, someone who's white or male. He says
so
that's racist and sexist. It is.
Yeah.
So she blocks him on Twitter. Today she called Boston College demanding that they not have him back as adjunct faculty. It's crazy. So this woman posts this And he points out that it's racist and sexist. So she blocks him and she tries to get him fired.
That's
Okay,
so
this is why that whole thing is fucked up. Okay, because he's acting like white people exist on an even plane, which a lot of people try to do. So it's like
But he's not necessarily. He's just saying that what she's saying is racist and sexist.
Yes.
Because she's determining who she's going to vote for based entirely on the race.
yes,
Right.
but
and their
there's
sex.
other elements involved, like the level that white people, not saying all white people, but white people have fucked over people who are not white. Forget about poor white people who they fucked over. So you understand that, but they're both right. But then
To be fair, all cultures, for the most part, all groups of people have done that sort of thing to other people. So I feel that it's not very healthy right now for our society to be focusing solely on one group of people as if they are responsible for the evils of the world of all time or whatever, which is very much happening these days. I know some people try to act like that's not true, or even if they admit that it's true, their basic outlook seems to be, well, that's okay because it's deserved, because whatever their argument is. And that's just not, I just can't go there with that type of thinking. I just can't, because I don't, honestly, it reminds me of the tactics that someone like Hitler used against the Jewish people. He demonized the Jewish people in society. They were responsible for all these terrible things that were going on for the most part. And it became very easy for society, not all Germans, obviously, were not accepting of this, but a pretty big number of them were. But he demonized this particular group of people, and he made it so that society could very easily turn on them and do the types of horrors that were done. That's where that type of thinking can lead to, you guys. It's not a good place to be. So yeah. Okay.
over people who are not white. Forget about poor white people who they fucked over. So you understand that, but they're both right. But then, like, the fact that she then takes it to the point that because he had the audacity to,
I'm trying to think it's really more about wealth. That's what I was trying to say. Wealth. Wealthy people, extremely wealthy people in any society throughout all of history, pretty much, they've been the group that has predominantly been able to keep a lot of people down. They've abused their position. You know, they are able to get away with things that normal people can't get away with. I'm not necessarily at all demonizing rich people. I'm just saying, and I don't mind that we have a lot of rich people in society. I don't even mind that they try to do things like shield their income from the government, because we all know how the government completely mismanages money. So, but that's the point is, of all groups of people, there's really primarily one that has privilege in society, and that is people who have a lot of wealth, because they can buy people off, they can get out of trouble easier. There's just a whole load of things that they can do that normal people cannot do. So anyway, whatever. It's late. I don't feel like my thoughts are coherent right now. Plus, I'm tired, but that's, story of my life.
you understand that, but they're both right. But then, like, the fact that she then takes it to the point that because he had the audacity to have a difference of an opinion, that's the thing now, and that now we're going to destroy you and you can't be on this thing. And then the other level of that is how the corporate entities are so afraid that one fucking nickel is going to roll out the door. Because all of this shit is, you're just a paper tiger until you get the big behemoth to listen to you. And there's all of these fucking things from award shows to this bullshit that someone just needs to be like, listen, this guy already apologized. This is an old fucking thing. Or look, you just had a difference of opinion. That this isn't the first time you're going to say something and somebody's going to disagree with you. That doesn't mean that this guy can't come back. And you obviously, because of some shit that's happened to you, have an extreme opinion about this guy because of the color of his skin. It's like there's so many fucked up elements to that, but for some reason you can't, like, if you address that on any level, then you're part of the problem. And
well,
then
it's not just part of the problem. She's trying to get him fired. She's trying to get him fired for pointing out that something is racist.
No,
and
I'm saying
sexist.
if you say what I just said,
yes.
Try to look at it 360.
Oh yeah, and you're
as much as I can, which is why I love South Park, because everything that they do it 360, right? And so I learned a lot from that show by the way they look at stuff like that, because I don't fucking know everything. But even just to try to be like, well, hey, insulted him a little bit. I understand what you're saying and blah, blah, blah. You can't fucking do that anymore because then you're part of the fucking problem.
Yeah, people who try to take a balanced approach to things, there's still going to be elements on either side that's going to be pissed at them because they expect a certain narrative to be taken. And it's like there's no middle ground with people. It's like there's no everything with some people or people that are in that type of mindset. It's all one way or the other, and that's not the way life really is. Life, is shades of gray all over the place when it comes to life in general and situations and people and the complexities and all that stuff. So yeah, I get what he's saying there.
But you can't fucking do that anymore because then you're part of the fucking problem. And no, it's really gotten crazy. It's gotten to the point, like, I've seen, I'm not gonna name names, but I've seen, like, a tweet from a fellow comic telling comics what jokes you shouldn't talk about this topic. It's like, who the fuck are you? It's like, there's already gonna be enough people doing that. You're gonna do like cannibalism now?
You've really seen comics say that?
Yeah.
Real comics?
Yeah.
Comics? Are they
I mean, everybody has their opinion on somebody's fucking act, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's not a real comic.
Well, I wouldn't say that. They are a real comic. They just have an opinion I don't agree with.
They can fuck off.
Yeah, well, I mean. Trying to have less confrontations
But I understand.
in my life here.
That kind of shit drives me crazy, though. What drives me most crazy is this bullying. Like, she's trying to get him fired. She's trying to get him fired for having an opinion on something that she publicly stated.
One of these, somebody running one of these things has to be like, and it can't just be private. It has to be a public tweet to say that it's just going too far. And this fucking thing where you have a difference of an opinion now, and they're just going to, take your fucking job away. I ran into this shit, when the Me Too stuff first started coming out, people would try to, like, you had to tweet the right fucking thing. And if you said anything sort of, let's look at the evidence. God forbid you fucking said that.
Right.
And it just became like this whole, you're part of the problem. And then they would try to take you down,
Right.
or someone you were friends with or doing a show with or represented by. They would try to do like that pressure to try. And it was just like,
It's still
and all
going
you had to say
on.
is like, no, I'm not doing that. And then
It's still going on, even with things like Comicsgate. So, people that are involved in that, even somebody who's not even directly involved in it, but if they just even have a superficial passing by with someone connected with it, people have gone after them, which is insane, y'all. Really it's not good. It's not good at all.
to do like that pressure to try, and it was just like, and all you had to say is like, no, I'm not doing that. And then it just goes away because you don't have a fucking leg to stand on.
Well, also the people that are doing it, it's a small percentage it's a very
Unbelievably
vocal minority.
small.
Yeah.
Unbelievably small.
they're really loud.
And comics,
That's the problem.
it's like we're literally running for office. We're out there campaigning for this election that never happens. And you're going through red states, blue states, you're going through fucking everything. And the general consensus of people is like, dude, that was fucking crazy. Like that doesn't make sense. But no one wants to say it because they're going to get steamrolled. And
Well,
when,
you know saw what happened to Matt Damon, right? Matt Damon said we have to make a differentiation between the Harvey Weinsteins in the world and then someone who, like Aziz Ansari goes on a bad date. There's a big difference between those two. And they attacked him and they tried to get him pulled off of that movie Ocean's 8.
yeah, and they were acting like that, like killing somebody versus stealing a car,
Right.
versus jaywalking. Like literally the whole judicial system is based on what you did is your punishment. Your parents do that.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How bad was what you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what that sounded like.
Exactly.
And we live in a world now where I have to be measured in the way that I say that what he said, affected me, how I heard it. And then I was like, this is just a typical fucking bald white male.
Yep.
And they go in that route. It's like, you literally sound like what the fuck you're against. And it's not going to last. And I feel like it's like the end.
I hope not. Someone made a comment on one of my videos. I forgot which one it was. Maybe it was the Bill Burr monologue video, SNL monologue video about that. I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it right in front of my face, but how that cancel culture or cancel, like they're canceling each other out or something like that. And I made the remark that, that was good. It couldn't happen soon enough. And then someone came on and the way they worded it was kind of funny. And I had to read it a second time to be sure I had gotten it. But basically was saying something like, well, because we want cancel culture to be eliminated, to be done away with, we're now turning, that makes us cancel culture people or something like that. But not exactly, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't want them destroyed. I just want their destructive behavior to stop. I don't want them to necessarily lose their jobs. I don't want them to be crucified in the public. I don't want them to be smeared in the press or anything like that. I just want their bad behavior to stop hurting other people, like directly hurting other people, like trying to get people fired, doxing people, people being threatened, physically threatened because they said something that the mob decreed not okay, so therefore they're going to come and harass you. I hope he's right. I hope it is something that goes away pretty quickly. I do think that most people are reasonable and they don't support stuff like that. The problem is the people that do support stuff like that, they are so freaking loud about it, and they create such an uproar about it that I think they make people in general think that there's actually more of them than there really are. But you've got companies that are afraid of them too. And it's just like, what? Why are you bowing to these bullies? That's not, you don't give in to the mob, because the mob is almost always not thinking clearly. They're thinking more with emotion and anger or whatever. You bow to the mob and you are setting yourself up for some serious problems. So, okay, here we go again.
They're against, and it's not going to last. And I feel like it's like the end of the winter, and people want to go outside and get some sun on their face. And
it's still
like
going on.
no
2 years later,
taking people by the back of their fucking neck and fucking shoving their face in the shit. That you can't sustain that.
No,
you can't sustain it. It doesn't.
It doesn't work. You don't get people to change by yelling at them. It doesn't work.
Or bombing them, like what the fuck we're doing. Like, that's not, all you're doing is you're just building up resentment, and more people want to fucking take you down. So that's like...
they don't understand psychology. So what they think is this is their time. This is their time to get back at men. This is their time to yell at men. This is the time to wear the Future's Feminine t-shirts. This is the time to take their stand. And did you not see the Women's March? Saw a bunch of people walking.
Right. Listen, I'm not saying the points that they're making don't need to be made. I'm not saying that their complaints are not just. It's the execution.
The problem is a lot of their complaints are not really all that valid. You have women in first world countries with these women's marches acting like They are literally oppressed, and they are not. As I've mentioned before in one of my other videos, yeah, just because someone is a butthole to you does not mean you are systemically oppressed, because that's not the case in this country, in any other first world country. It just isn't. Yeah, there might be tailholes within the system that do stuff, but that it's not built into the system. It's just not. And that if anybody is really oppressed, if you want to say any group is oppressed in a first world country, at this particular moment in time, it's men, for the reasons that I've mentioned in other videos of mine. So yeah, no, the points that they're making, yeah, if you want to apply that to a third world country where women really are oppressed in various parts of the world, that's real oppression. What we have here, that's not. It just isn't. Come on, y'all. We have it so good here, we have to create problems that don't even really exist for the most part, as far as overall and for everybody.
I'm not saying that their complaints are not just, it's the execution of it.
Yes.
Where it's like you're going to go through intimidation and destroying people, like
exactly
people's careers, and people, you have to publicly apologize. It's like
they're bullying people.
Yes. Some of the biggest bullies right now, I can't believe it because I'm a lefty, are on my side of the fucking fence. And, when someone's on your side of the fence and you're looking at them like you sound like a fucking crazy person, that's when you've entered, like, what was your special? Strange Times?
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. Like, it's like.
It is strange. Yeah.
It is strange because it's
they feel like they're justified because they feel like with a maniac like Trump in the office that they have to do what they have to do to change the world.
Right. They also feel like they are morally righteous and morally superior. So anybody who doesn't agree with them, with their narrative, well, they must be put down. They must be dehumanized. I mean, like I said, same sort of mentality that happened in places like Nazi Germany, you guys. It's just, when you feel like you're right and that everybody else is wrong, you're going to view them as lesser. It's the way people behave a lot of times.
Justified because they feel like with a maniac like Trump in the office that they have to do what they have to do to change the world. But you don't change the world by yelling at people. It doesn't work that way. And there's real points to be made. There's real points about, I couldn't imagine being a woman working in an office with a bunch of guys trying to fuck you all the time. It's got to be a goddamn nightmare. I can't imagine having a bunch of bosses that literally tell you suck my dick, I'll give you a raise. Like, that happens.
It certainly does happen. I was very fortunate in that was not my experience. And I do prefer to whenever I've been in a working environment, I have always preferred to work with men because they're not quite as catty as women can be in general. But no, that has never really been my experience. And I know I'm just one person, and I know that people have experienced that as far as in their working environment. But but it's just like guys have to put up with crap like that too. So it's not like women are the only victim in that sort of thing.
Tell you suck my dick, I'll give you a raise. Like, that happens.
Yes.
It's got to be hell. I get it. I mean, I get it.
But you have to be,
you
got to be like an 8 though, 8 on up to deal with that every day. I mean, let's be fucking honest. You know what I mean? There's really
some 6s out there.
There's really good. If you got a personality.
Hit the gym a lot. Got a nice ass.
I'm just saying, it's just like some of that shit is like fucking, it's I always viewed it like you ever watch like the behind the scenes of like a prison, and the first thing every guy thinks is how the fuck would I not get raped in there, right?
Exactly.
Women have to think that just fucking walking down the street. So that's how I wrap my head around to be like, wow, okay, like what they're saying is like, because I don't like a lot of the arguments, I'm not like, that doesn't make sense. It's what doesn't make sense to me is the children of the corn fucking torches burning and just go like the way that just I mean, a lot of people like they do that with like our foreign policy. Like this whole fucking thing has bankrupted this country. Every August now, they just shut down the government, which has just become normal. And all they do to make it like okay is they just raise the level of debt that we legally can take on or whatever. And it's like, all right, let's do this for another year. No. And if you question any of that, that means you don't support the troops. And you're a fucking piece of shit. And you need to get the fuck out of here. And it's like, so much stuff doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just saw Michelle Obama. They had this fucking tweet of her wearing these glitter thigh-high boots and said, sets Twitter on fire with her $4,000 fucking boots. And it's just like, you know, do you don't question where she got that money? The president makes $500,000 a year. She blew $4,000 on thigh-high boats. And don't even talk to me about the fucking book deal and all of that shit. That fucking guy, his first like 2, you know, public speaking engagement things were like with major banks. And you go out on the road,
thousands of dollars.
And all these guys are like fucking, all these fellow Americans are upside down in the house from all those fucking banker cunts who did not get punished in 2008. They all, you want to talk about like people who should have had their fucking lives burned down, those people. And these guys, they have their faces in the same fucking pig trough as the guys with the red ties. And for whatever reason, like, I don't know why, like, they get a pass.
Exactly. And
it doesn't make any sense.
How about more serious shit, like drone strikes? More innocent civilians were killed with drone strikes during Obama's administration.
I know, and that's why they're telling me you're fighting terrorism while you're creating more of it. Because all I would want to do is just get revenge.
Exactly.
And, you know, I have very simplistic ways of how to get the fuck out of there.
How do you do it?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying the air would be cleaner because I don't know what, like, when you throw a Tesla battery into the fucking ocean, what that does to it. I'm sure it's fucking horrible. But I know that they're a one-stop shop over there in the Middle East. They got oil and that's it, you know? I always compare them. Remember that kiosk in like the South Shore Plaza in Boston? There was it was a place called Wicks and Sticks. All they did was sell candles. Which just seemed like a really vulnerable business. Yeah. Or pewter pot. First they just sold muffins. Yeah. And then they started doing full breakfasts. Well, they're like a pewter pot. They're just selling muffins. So if we stop buying muffins, and we got enough oil here, if we switch to solar power and all that shit, I know the windmills are ugly, and I know that's probably just as much fucking bad on the environment. But what it does is it gets you out of there. And it bankrupts them, and then they don't have the money to funnel through the mosque to fund the terrorists.
Well, the United States is exporting oil now, which is crazy. I mean, we have a lot of oil,
right?
And especially through, you know, fracking.
But I'm just saying. But if you ever suggested that, which I think I just did, I think then for some reason I don't love my country and like I'm trying to solve it. I'm a frugal guy. Yeah. You know, I don't fucking, you know, I don't spend beyond my means. And, you know, I don't like debt and that type of shit. I don't know how the fuck these guys, I think that's why the president ages so much.
Well, they don't get any sleep. The pressure, you imagine
the dead bodies,
everything,
all of that.
Oh, just knowing how everything really works.
Oh yeah,
Trump doesn't seem to mind. He just takes an extra Adderall, keeps on trucking. He doesn't seem like he's all the scandals. That guy seems completely
because
normal.
I think he's a certain level sick mentally that it doesn't get in. I mean, because he hasn't aged at all. Now, granted, he's got all that white stuff around his eyes, and I don't know what he's doing with the hair. But the hair is usually the telltale sign. But I think
it goes gray. Yeah, he's one of the only presidents that it's like half of that shit's probably from a doll. Like who knows where that?
Well, he's got enough money to do like a transplant at this point, right?
You can't do a transplant on that thing. He doesn't have any donor area.
What do you mean? He's got it all in the back, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't. You ever see what happens when it flies up in the back when the wind hits it? The back's all bald.
Oh, because he probably did the original plugs and they didn't take.
Who knows what he's got going on back there? He's got chaos going on back there. You ever seen it?
Yeah, I mean, he's
the
president.
Wind hits it and his hair flops up. But you ever seen the video of him? It looks he's a guy wearing a demon, like a demon wearing a human mask.
It's very wispy.
Not just wispy, like it's missing, like
Dude,
Chernobyl baby.
Do you know it'd be nuts if he gets a second term and he shaves his head?
That would be nuts.
and he would just look like the most evil fucking dude ever. Like that would be like,
If you got to,
I actually saw some sort of photoshopped picture of him, of Trump, with a shaved head and a goatee and beard, and it changed his look completely, and it didn't look that terrible. So that would be interesting. He should do something like that.
he would just look like the most evil fucking dude ever. Like that would be like,
if you got a second term, shaves his head, starts doing intermittent fasting, lifting weights, gets on steroids, drops down to about $190, jacked.
yeah, I mean, that would be, I think, yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. That's why I'm trying to just, in my own little fucking world, I'm trying to chill out more, and I'm trying not to fucking, there's enough yelling. I don't think that they need it from me now.
I think more mocking and laughing than yelling for sure. But when you see enough of those, the future is feminine t-shirts, and you see enough hypocrisy, and you see enough people trying to take people out for commenting on what's sexist and racist and trying to get people fired, like it's a time of outrage across the board. And you have to respond a little bit. You have to let people know, hey, this is fucking ridiculous. Like there's a certain obligation, especially comedians have as a social commentator. You see some stupid shit, if you're not commenting on it.
If you choose to go that route.
Yeah.
Some people just like, all right, I'm just gonna let you forget your whole work week, and I'm just gonna talk about a bunch of shit, small stuff.
Yeah. Oops. Uh-oh. Sorry, it just jumped forward to a Halloween Returns fan film. I haven't watched this one yet. This one's almost 50 minutes long. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page with just about everything they mentioned, except for the bits and pieces that I touched on that I have a bit of a disagreement about. But what I like about people like them is that they don't buy into that mess, and we need more people like them to speak up and to speak out, and just collectively there should be more of a pushback against that sort of thing, because basically what we've got is a bunch of schoolyard bullies. That's basically what it is. I mean, that's what's happening. That then they're trying to destroy people who just don't agree with them, and I think I could rant on and on about this because it is so disturbing to me. Even more so, well, one, that it happens, and even more so to see how much they're able to get by with doing what they do. And I just think that the more people stand up to them and just don't put up with them, with that sort of behavior, I think, like Bill said, it can't last forever. It's going to go away. What you don't want is, I did mention in another video about how, the pendulum. Right now we have the pendulum doing this crazy swing, like Bill said, to the left as far as that sort of thing goes. What we don't want is for it to go all the way over here to the extreme on the other side. That's not good either. So just be nice if the pendulum could just stop and stay right in the middle. But that will never happen because humans, it's like it's not in our nature for things to be that way, unfortunately. But so anyway, yeah, I'm glad I checked this out. I feel it I'm glad, but at the same time, it kind of stirred me up because I'm feeling a little bit aggravated about the subject matter. So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the best thing for me to check out given the week ahead. But anyway, I'm going to try to get this put up by Tuesday because there was a video that I had uploaded that it got blocked, and now it looks like the block has been lifted. It was the Louis C.K. SNL monologue. By the time you see this video, that one will have already gone up. So my aim is to get this one up on Tuesday morning or Tuesday noon. And my hope for Tuesday, which if you're watching this on Tuesday, my hope for today, Election Day, I really am going to try to avoid the news as much as possible. I'm going to try to avoid social media as much as possible, except to do, like check messages or whatever. And I'm toying with the idea, and I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I am toying with the idea of maybe doing some gameplay on election night, a live stream gameplay. And I downloaded the GOG application onto this computer here because this would be the computer that I would be streaming from. And I'm trying to think of what game to start with. I have a lot of games in my collection, most of which I haven't played, but I'm thinking I might want to finally tackle the remake of Gabriel Knight. I played the first game years and years ago, decades ago. But I have not played the redone version. And so I'm thinking it would be kind of like a nice little diversion or break. The only thing I'm not sure of is I have a lot of work. And so I don't know if I will have the time to do it, but I kind of feel like I'll need a little bit of mental break that day and just some sort of other distraction. So if I pop up on a live stream, it's just me playing a game, and I've never really done a live stream where it's just me live before. So I probably won't know what the heck I'm doing. So I apologize in advance if it happens and I screw up. But anyway, that's enough of this for now. I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug. It is quite late, and I don't know if I'm going to film anymore. Yeah, it's pretty late, y'all. It's like 1:30 in the morning. And I've got some videos to edit, so I think I should go ahead and just stop talking now. Okay, guys, later.